You look down at your ankles at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and they are completely unrecognizable. The skin is stretched tight, gleaming, and uncomfortably shiny. Your socks have cut deep, painful red trenches into your skin. When you press your thumb against your shin bone, it leaves a crater that stays there for entirely too long. You drag yourself to the doctor, and the response is almost always immediate and generic. They pull out their pad, write a prescription for a diuretic, commonly known as a water pill, like hydrochlorothiazide or furosemide, and tell you to elevate your legs. You go home, swallow the pill, and spend the next 12 hours rushing to the bathroom. Your ankles might temporarily shrink, but the very next afternoon, the massive, heavy swelling returns with a vengeance. You are trapped in a miserable daily cycle, and the brutal biological reality is that those water pills are not fixing the problem. In fact, relying strictly on synthetic diuretics is chemically guaranteeing that your lower legs will eventually suffer permanent vascular damage. Today, we are going to look at the exact biological illusion of the water pill, why it forces your body to hoard fluid, and the deep, mechanical interventions you must use to drain the swelling permanently. To understand why the water pill is failing you, you have to understand the massive difference between the fluid in your bloodstream and the fluid trapped in your ankles. The swelling in your feet is called interstitial fluid. It is water and cellular waste that has physically leaked out of your blood vessels and is now drowning the surrounding muscle and fat tissue. When you take a prescription diuretic, that pill does not magically reach into your ankle tissue and squeeze the water out. The pill goes to your kidneys and forces them to aggressively filter water out of your blood. Your blood volume rapidly drops. You pee out massive amounts of water, but that water came from your central circulation, not the trapped swamp in your legs. Here is the biological catastrophe that happens next. Because the water pill rapidly drained the fluid from your bloodstream, your blood literally becomes thicker. It turns into a viscous sludge. Your kidneys instantly sense this drop in blood volume and pressure. They panic. They assume you are wandering through a desert, dying of severe dehydration. To save your life, the kidneys activate a massive emergency survival mechanism called the renin-angiotensin-aldosterone system. They flood your body with hormones that scream at every single cell to aggressively hoard sodium and lock up every drop of water it can find. This is known as the diuretic rebound effect. The moment the water pill wears off, your body violently pulls water back into the tissues to protect itself against the perceived dehydration. You are punishing your kidneys, thickening your blood, and stripping your body of vital minerals, all while the actual root cause of the leaky veins remains completely unaddressed. If we want to stop the swelling without poisoning the kidneys, we must stop the veins from leaking in the first place. You have to look microscopically at the inner lining of your blood vessels. Your veins are not solid rubber pipes. They are highly porous, living biological membranes. What prevents the watery part of your blood from leaking out into your ankles is a microscopic, slippery layer called the endothelial glycocalyx. Imagine millions of tiny, hair-like structures acting as a Teflon barrier inside the vein. As long as that barrier is thick and healthy, the fluid stays inside the pipe. But the modern diet of the aging adult completely shreds this barrier. Every single time your blood sugar spikes from eating processed carbohydrates, commercial breads, or sugary drinks, those microscopic hairs are violently sheared off. Furthermore, if you are not eating enough high-quality protein, your liver cannot manufacture a critical molecule called albumin. Albumin is a biological sponge that floats inside your blood vessels. Its entire evolutionary purpose is to hold on to water and keep it inside the vein. When your glycocalyx is shredded by sugar and your blood is starved of albumin, your veins literally turn into a garden soaker hose. The water effortlessly seeps through the weakened walls and, driven by gravity, pools directly into your feet. You cannot fix a shredded, leaky vein with a water pill. You have to physically force that leaked fluid out of the tissue and back into the lymphatic sewer system. Walking is the standard advice because it engages the calf muscle pump, but millions of seniors cannot walk for 30 minutes due to severe knee arthritis, hip pain, or neuropathy. If you cannot walk aggressively, the fluid stagnates. But clinical researchers recently uncovered a massive biomechanical loophole in the human leg that allows you to pump gallons of blood and lymphatic fluid without ever standing up. It involves a very specific, deeply hidden muscle in your lower leg called the soleus. The soleus muscle sits completely underneath your large, visible calf muscle. Unlike the rest of the muscles in your body that rely on glycogen for energy and fatigue quickly, the soleus operates almost entirely on a different metabolic pathway. It is designed by evolution to fire continuously for hours without ever getting tired, specifically to pump blood back to your heart while you are standing or walking. But researchers discovered you can isolate and massively activate the soleus muscle while sitting down, effectively turning your lower leg into a biological vacuum cleaner. Here is the exact mechanical protocol, known clinically as the soleus push-up. Sit in a chair with your knees bent at a perfect 90-degree angle and your feet resting flat on the floor. Without lifting your toes or the ball of your foot, push your heels as high up into the air as you possibly can. You are flexing the ankle aggressively while keeping the front of your foot glued to the ground. Hold that extreme top position for 1 second, and then completely and entirely relax the leg, letting the heel drop dead back to the floor. The relaxation phase is just as critical as the push, because that is when the soleus vein fills with the trapped interstitial fluid. Wait 1 second, and then push the heel back up. You can do this continuously for 20, 30, or even 40 minutes while reading a book or watching television. Because the soleus never fatigues, you are manually engaging the most powerful venous pump in the human body. The physical contraction violently wrings out the deep veins, creating a massive suction effect that pulls the trapped, swollen fluid out of your ankle tissue and fires it back up toward your kidneys. While the soleus push-up engages the internal mechanical pump, there is a second, external physical intervention that is exponentially more powerful than any medical compression sock you can buy. Compression socks are notoriously difficult for seniors to put on. They pinch the skin, and they often roll down, essentially creating a tourniquet that traps the fluid in the foot. To crush the fluid out of your legs safely and completely, you must use the absolute laws of physics. You must use hydrostatic diuresis. Water is incredibly heavy, and it exerts a massive, perfectly uniform pressure on anything submerged in it. When you immerse your lower body in water, the physical weight of the water crushes the fluid out of your legs. But taking a shallow bath will not work. The pressure is dictated by depth. You need to get into a swimming pool and stand in water that reaches up to your chest, or fill a deep soaking bathtub as high as it will comfortably go and sit upright. When you are submerged up to your chest, the water pressure at the bottom of the pool near your ankles is significantly higher than the pressure near the surface. This creates a perfect, natural pressure gradient. The heavy water physically squeezes the swollen tissue in your feet and ankles with absolute, uniform precision. It forces the trapped lymphatic fluid up the leg, into the abdomen, and directly back into the central circulation. When that massive volume of fluid hits your central circulation, your kidneys instantly recognize the increase in pressure. But unlike the violent, artificial shock of a synthetic water pill, this is a natural, mechanical fluid return. The kidneys naturally and gently open their filtration gates. Within 20 minutes of deep water immersion, your body will naturally trigger a massive diuretic response. You will have a profound, undeniable urge to urinate. This is your body safely flushing the exact fluid that was trapped in your ankles just an hour prior, without triggering the panic of the survival hormones, and without stripping the critical magnesium from your bloodstream. If you must use a chemical aid to help the kidneys process this fluid, you have to abandon the harsh synthetic pills and use biological aquaretics. An aquaretic is a compound that tells the kidneys to release water, but physically protects and spares the potassium and magnesium in your blood. One of the most thoroughly researched natural aquaretics is dandelion leaf extract. Unlike hydrochlorothiazide, which chemically strip mines your vascular system of minerals, dandelion leaf contains exceptionally high levels of natural potassium. When you brew a strong cup of dandelion leaf tea, you are giving the kidneys the biological signal to flush the excess water, while simultaneously replacing the exact minerals required to keep your heart's electrical rhythm stable and your blood vessels relaxed. Similarly, celery seed extract has been shown in clinical pharmacology to act as a profound natural vasodilator and gentle diuretic. Celery seed contains a unique compound called 3N-butylphthalide, or 3NB. This compound actively lowers the resistance in your blood vessels, making the pipes wider so the fluid can flow freely, while gently encouraging the kidneys to release the pressure volume. By swapping the synthetic water pill for a strong dandelion and celery seed protocol, you stop the vicious cycle of the diuretic rebound effect. You allow the kidneys to do their job without triggering the biological panic that forces your body to hoard water the next day. But there is one absolute, life or death warning that must be clearly stated regarding lower extremity swelling. Everything we have discussed today applies strictly to bilateral edema, meaning both of your ankles and both of your legs are swelling equally. Equal swelling points to a systemic issue with the heart, the kidneys, the leaky veins, or the lack of muscular pumping. But if you wake up and look down, and only one leg is swollen while the other looks completely normal, you must not do a soleus push-up. You must not get into a pool, and you must not massage it. Unilateral swelling is the screaming, ultimate red flag for a deep vein thrombosis. A DVT is a solid blood clot that has formed deep inside the vein of that specific leg. The leg will often feel warm, it will look red, and it will carry a deep, throbbing ache. If you try to pump or compress a single swollen leg, you run the massive risk of physically breaking that clot free. It will travel like a bullet up your venous system and smash directly into your lungs, causing a pulmonary embolism that can kill you before you ever reach the hospital doors. One swollen leg is a severe medical emergency requiring an immediate ultrasound. Two swollen legs is a mechanical and chemical failure that you must solve. Your body is not a mysterious black box. It operates on the strict laws of fluid dynamics, tissue permeability, and muscular pumping. The medical system has failed you by treating your heavy, painful ankles as a cosmetic issue to be temporarily masked by a synthetic water pill. That pill is dehydrating your blood, starving your heart of magnesium, and forcing your kidneys into a state of chronic panic. You must take manual control of the plumbing. You must repair the leaky garden hose by eliminating the massive sugar spikes that shred your endothelial lining. You must activate the hidden biological vacuum cleaner by executing the seated soleus push-up every single day. You must use the heavy, crushing physics of deep water immersion to effortlessly force the trapped fluid back into the central circulation. And you must trade the harsh, mineral-stripping pharmaceuticals for the intelligent, potassium-sparing aquaretics found in natural extracts. This information is based on advanced clinical biomechanics, vascular physiology, and deep cellular biology. It is strictly for educational purposes and is never a replacement for the direct, personalized care of your physician. Do not ever stop taking a prescribed medication, especially a diuretic prescribed for severe congestive heart failure, without sitting down and having a direct, serious conversation with your doctor first. Demand that they look at the root cause of your capillary leak, rather than just treating the symptom. Take exceptional care of the complex plumbing system that keeps you alive. Refuse to accept the pain of swollen ankles as a mandatory tax of aging. And I will see you in the next video.